Welcome back, friends. In this video, I am going to be showing you what are conditional statements, comments, quotes, and the escape sequence in Python. Now, let me just explain to you what are quotes and comments. I'll explain this in Python so that you understand better. So let's say I have written print hello, how are you? When I run it, this is going to come. But if I do not want this to appear in the shell, I can put a hash over here and comment it so that it does not come. And when I run it, there's nothing in the shell. Or there is another way where you have written a huge line of code and you cannot go putting hash on every line. So what you can do is put quotes on one end, then uh, move and then until whichever line you don't want to come, you can put the ending quotes so that anything between these quotes won't come out in the shell, but anything before or after the quotes, they will come in the shell. So I hope you have understood what are comments and uh, quotes. Now moving on to the escape sequence. So print mm, how are you? This is what we want to print. Now escape sequence, there are two ways. One is horizontal tab and one is vertical tab. Now horizontal tab. Now horizontal tab is depicted by \t. So print how are you? So you am running the program, you may see the difference. How are you and the horizontal tab gives a space between the two words. And then there is the vertical tab. Vertical tab. So print. Let me just quote this. How /n depicts vertical tab r/n u question mark, and when you run it you can see that vertical tab puts the word into a new line. So I hope you understood the escape sequence in Python. Now I'll show you the conditional statements. These statements give certain conditions for values. Syntaxes are if statement, if else statement, nested if else statement, and if elif else statement. So if statement, let's say you want to find out whether a number is odd or even. So for the user to input an integer, we can take a variable num is equal to integer input, enter a number. Now we know that even numbers are multiples of 2 and modular division finds out the remainder. So we can write if num modulo division 2 is equal to 0, then print And remember, after the if, you have in the next line you have to have a tab space for the print to come when that condition is satisfied. So if number uh, modulo division 2 is equal to 0, print the number is an even number. And another if num uh, modulo division 2 is unequal to 0, then print the number is an odd number. So let's save this and run it. So we'll just take a number 90. The number is an even number because it is divisible by 2. And if we take a number 45, the number is an odd number as it is not divisible by 2. Now the second statement is if else statement. If I take the same problem, that is whether a number is odd or even. So first let me just comment this part so that this does not print. So let's just say, let's take this part. This will stay the same because there is one if. And else is something that if the if condition is not satisfied, then the else will satisfy it. Instead of printing this whole thing again, you can write else print the number is an odd number. And when you run it, 45, it still says the same thing. The number is an odd number. So I hope you understood what is the if else statement. Moving on to the nested if else statement. So we want to find out whether a number is positive or negative and whether it is divisible by 7. So let me show this to you. And let's just take the same variable num. So if num is greater than 0, and inside that if, another if num modulo division 7 is equal to 0, then print the number is both positive and divisible by 7, or else print the number is both positive and not divisible by 7. But if this else comes over here, so it won't come inside this if condition. So let me just show this to you. Let's run it. So there is 21. Number is both positive and divisible by 7. And if I remove this else, like I move it outside and remove this tab space and run it, say minus 21. We know that it is 21 is a multiple of 7, but it's not been shown over here. So that's why we need the tab inside. And I should also write the statement for the negative uh, integers. So if I just copy this and paste it over here, just instead of this greater than sign, and I put a less than sign, and number is both negative and divisible by 7, or number is both negative and not divisible by 7. And now if we see minus 21, the number is both negative and divisible by 7. So I hope you understood what this nested if else statement is. Now moving on to the if elif else. So what this if elif else statement is that elif is is another condition. So if is the first condition and any number of elifs can come between if and else. So let's say we want to find out the larger number between three numbers. So let me just comment this. So put a new, and now let's say num1 is equal to integer input, enter the first number, num2 is equal to instead of this first put a second, and num3 is equal to enter the third number. Now we want to find out which is larger. So if num1 is greater than num2 and num1 is greater than num3, print num1 is the largest of the three numbers. Now elif, if num1 is greater than num2 and num1 is equal to num3, then print num1 and num3 are larger than num2. Elif, oh wait, it's not num over here, it's going to be num1. Elif num1 is equal to num2 and num1 is greater than num3, then print num1 and num2 are larger than num3. So I hope you're understanding what's going on. I'm just giving certain conditions to the number. Now elif num2 is larger than num1 and num2 is larger than num3, print num2 is the largest of the three numbers. Elif num2 greater than num1 1 and num2 equal to num3, then print num2 and num3 are are larger than num1. Next condition, elif. As I told you, any number of elifs can come from 1 to how many ever elifs needed. Now let's say num1 and num2 are equal and num2 is greater than num3. Oh, well, that condition is already done over here. And now let's say elif num3 is greater than num1 and num3 is greater than num2, then print num3 is the largest of the three numbers. Is there any condition I'm missing? Num3 equal to num2. Well, that's done. So instead of this elif here, we can say else num3 is the largest of the three numbers. When we run it, enter the first number 21, enter the second number 22, enter the third number 21. 22 is the largest of the three numbers. If we run it again, enter the first number 23, second number 23, third number 24. 24 is the largest of the three numbers. Oh yeah, I just remembered another thing we can write, another condition. Elif num1 equal to num2 and num1 equal to num3, then print all the three numbers are equal to each other. Now we run it again. Enter the first number, let's say 21. Second number 22. Third number 22. 22 and 22 are larger than 21. Now we run it again and write all the numbers equal 21, 21, 21. All the three numbers are equal to each other. And any other? So I hope you understood the if, elif, else statement. In my next video, I'm going to show you what is the while loop. Thank you for watching.